This one's for all my guys out there. I won't talk about the current dating market or anything like that. I won't really get into those details as far as what we're kind of dealing with nowadays as guys, especially us in the West here in, America, where a lot of this culture, this toxic culture, derives from, sadly. But I won't talk about kind of some of the shortcomings and faults that we got to deal with, society's repercussions of this dating space. I'll leave that for another video. But today I want to talk about why the most important thing that you can do is conquer first and become first and build yourself up first before even thinking about acquiring a female of any sort. Now, I kind of want to give a little bit of a note and say that if you're already in a relationship or something, a relationship spawns naturally where you're not seeking after it, there might be a special case where that's okay. But you need to know deep down whether or not it's withholding your ability to focus and to give your all to your purpose first. If it is taking away and retracting and distracting you from what you can accomplish in this life, it is a setback. There's no two ways about it. It's nice, it's cushy, it's good to have that feminine energy around. But if you don't have that rock solid masculine energy to put yourself in position, you're going to settle. And that's what tends to happen with guys that get girls. Even if they're in their prime, they're in their, let's say, 30s. They settle. And I'm not saying that anyone shouldn't settle or not settle, meaning for a relationship that's right for them. But what I'm saying is, we got to control that side of us, which is that desire. That desire is strong in a lot of us, very strong. And God made the feminine and the beauty and the divine there too. And so we want it around. It complements us very well. But the challenge with it is being able to master ourselves first, master our own conquest first. That's where a lot of guys go wrong. When I see young men, teenagers in relationships, I say, okay, that's probably fun. You're probably having a good time. But dude, you're not able to actually experience time growing as an individual. That solo time, that time where you feel, man, I'm just lonely. Man, you should be celebrating, because so many people out here are distracted with all the cares of the world, and they can't even tune in and tap in to their inner strength, their inner ability to see things and to look around and understand the reality by just simply watching and paying attention. When you're so locked in and so distracted by your friends and fitting in and going out and spending time getting attention from females or whatever, you're literally wasting your energy. You're giving your energy away frivolously for memories that are, forgive me, not worth your attention. I'm not saying that friends aren't worth your attention. I'm saying that friends and women and distractions are a lot of people's everything. They're a lot of people's will to live. People feel trapped. People feel they can't even really become everything they were meant to become in this place we're in now in society. But that's not true, because all that inner growth, all that consistency in self-control and patience and kindness, right? The fruits of the Spirit are so important in this time that us as men are in. Fruits of the Spirit are love, peace, patience, kindness, generosity, faithfulness, self-control. Might be missing one or two. Gentleness. Did I say that? The point is, those are things that stick with us throughout the entire duration of our life. And if we're not working on them now, we're neglecting ourselves. We're neglecting those around us. This is a situation that we want to avoid if we can, is being pre-consumed with especially women. A lot of guys can't even control their second head, if you know what I mean. You know that. We know that. It's pretty obvious. But then there's a lot of us that really aren't even interested in a lot of what we're offered. A lot of the options out there. We're like, no, I'm okay. I'm gonna check out of this one. I'm gonna wait for the right one. But that's not even necessarily the best outlook. I'm gonna wait for the right one because you're still focused and obsessed with the fact of needing or wanting that feminine energy around. If you got a mom in your life, get feminine energy from family. Get feminine energy from being around. And as I know it's not the same, but very least you want to receive the feminine energy somehow, because it is a desire, it is a lack. You know, not a lack, but it is a strong, we have a strong proclivity, us as men, especially those in the masculine, to have that energy around. And it's important. It grounds us. It helps us to not kill one another. In all seriousness, it like, women in this world are part of the reason why we aren't completely aggressive and aggravated and mad all the time, and like, you know, all that. So there's a heavenly blessing involved in women being in our lives, but our relationship and our understanding of that needs to be from within first, with love for ourselves first. Right? The best relationships are formed when two individuals maintain a high self-worth for themselves, and by doing so, they are making choices to better themselves before thinking that they should involve themselves with anyone. Because then, God forbid, not God forbid, but if that relationship ends up splitting off and you feel less of a man because she's not around, because I don't feel validated anymore. What y'all really need is validation from God. Y'all really need the Most High to tell you who you are. Y'all really need Him to remind you that you were created in a way that is unbelievably purpose-driven and intentional. Your life is not a mistake. It's not just some random event that took place. It's not an evolutionary process, at least not in the macro sense. Yeah, you're evolving as a person on a micro level all the time. Microevolution is real, believe it. But don't believe the lie that you aren't a divine person who is created and inspired by literally God Himself. Your design, your mind, your everything, your interests, so much of it has to do with what's inspired already, and it already exists. You don't have to do anything about it. But back to the women. They're awesome. We love them. Pretty much. If you're clicking this video, the odds are you love women. You admire women. But to what degree are you compromising yourself for the pursuit or the desire to be admired by the opposite sex, or to be seen by the opposite sex? A lot of us, man, we go to the gym. I'll speak for myself. Go to the gym. Yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious if that cute girl is paying me any attention. Yeah, I am. That's kind of like hard to shake. So you got to have a healthy balance. It's being balanced is really what it is. It's not going, I'm not even going to pay attention to anyone. I'm not even going to look their direction. Now, for some women, that's going to be best. You don't even give them any attention, because all they want from you is attention. Your attention is their currency. So really, they're just using your attention to feel validated as well. You got to look out for those girls, and you don't want to give them your attention, because they need to find out who they are. And you keep giving them attention. All these guys keep giving them attention. They're never going to think they got to figure out who they are, because they're getting their hit. They're getting their hit. They're feeling some type of way by the male attention as well. So believe me, it's the same on both ends. Men and women, want attention from one another. But us as men need to really tap into that self-control and say, it is about me first. Now, you don't want to ever come from a place where you're making a woman feel, when you do have a woman in your life, making a woman feel like she's not important. But you need to always recognize your own importance first, so that you can continue to build. And you want to garner respect from someone, men and female. You're becoming and getting better. And a lot of times women aren't as focused on how well you do in life per se. They just want stability. They want stability, and they want to feel good. Now, because their feelings a lot of times are at the forefront of their being, it goes to show we need to complement one another. Our feelings don't need to be at the forefront. Our logic and understanding and basis of reality needs to be rooted in self-understanding and self-worth and emotions as they relate to our own being, not an emotional response to how others view us or value us, or if that guy respects me, or if that guy has said something rude to me. None of that. Like, you have to be detached from this needing to be validated. Again, it goes back to God. You need God to validate you, and he will, and he does. Tune in, tap in, focus. Don't get so distracted by everyone else. You're trying to garner attention from fallible people who more or less are self-obsessed. So why are you going out there trying to get people to look at you some type of way when they're always going to think about themselves a million times more than they're going to think about you? That's just the way it is, man. How many times a day are you thinking about yourself over thinking about some other dude or some other girl? Probably the majority of your day you're thinking about yourself. That's the same for a lot of human beings. We have self-interest before anything else, typically, especially us men. I'm gonna let this car pass. It's a nice view, huh? It's nice to get high up. If you're around mountains, get high up in the mountains. It changes the atmosphere, clearly, but it changes something too. It makes you think a little different. You're not as trapped in your box of your room or your apartment or wherever. You're not feeling the constricting environment that you're in when you're in a house or whatever. Maybe you're in a big house, but I mean, the house becomes small over time because you're so used to it, right? So the title is Conquer, right? What do I mean by conquer? By conquer, I mean, so in the Bible it says we are more than conquerors in Christ Jesus. Now, what is conquering? Conquering is not just obtaining land and obtaining a business that has grown to millions of dollars. It's like that's conquering in a worldly level. But conquering is being in control of your emotions and being not moved by all the things of the world, like on a firm foundation, a rock, right? And that's what Christ is too. That's really, he's the only one that's a rock. But when we're placed in a firm understanding and ability to recognize our own divine value, we're not so curious about what everyone's saying about us, because we're fulfilled. We're fulfilled in the sense that we know that God's got our back, and we know that we are already divinely inspired. And those that realize that are some of the most treasured people in the world, because they don't need everyone. They don't need everything. They're not needy. When you're needy, women especially sense it. Other men can sense it, and they just don't want you around because you're not good on your own, right? If you're the kind of guy that can get back into a friendship with someone after not seeing them for years, then it's because you're straight on your own. You don't need them to be around in order to. You don't need to have their presence in order to feel like they respect you. You just know that you're respectable simply because you exist and you are, and you're becoming, and you're stepping into your potential. So I guess I'll leave it there. I don't want to draw it out too long, but it really is self first, and not self first in a vain way, but self first in a, I gotta focus on me. And if you don't have seasons of time where you're completely alone or generally speaking alone, you're not going to become everything you were supposed to be, because we are influenced by energy around us. And if you continue to seek after other people's energy before your own, you're going to feel a lack, because it all is inside, as what the yogis and different ones from the Eastern culture say, everything's within. But I don't mean it in a simply to say that they've gotten everything figured out. But it is all present within you. You're made in the image of God. You have importance without even earning it or deserving it. So just remember that. Stay up. Don't lose sight of your own ability to excel without everyone else cheering you on. You can keep working, man, and keep grinding and have no one pay attention to you and be excited about you. And man, you've gotten somewhere, I'll tell you. Because no matter where you are, no matter what country you're in, you know nobody, you're content. I got me. God made me special. That's that, man. All right. Peace.